Every land tells a story. Some speak only of nature, others are much more than just scenery. They are archives, holding layers of human choices, stories, hopes, and work. Some of them speak loudly through their memories carved in stone or painted on walls. Others only whisper. The Val di Chiana Senese is one of those places where history flows quietly, like water beneath the surface, shaping everything it touches. This is a land that wakes up slowly, the way memory does. Nothing arrives suddenly here. Everything emerges. As we discovered in Episode 1, the Etruscans first, the Romans later, left their mark here, a deep, enduring imprint that still defines the rhythm of life in this fertile, intensely human landscape. In some places, history is all around us. The Val di Chiana Senese in southern Tuscany is one such place. A landscape of rolling hills, thermal springs, and ancient roads. Here, ruins and stories continue to emerge. Not only from the soil, but from the collective memory of the people who live here. Like the memory of a river that no longer exists, or rather, a river that disappeared, but never truly vanished. Its name was Clanis. I am John Aquilecchia, and this is Clanis, a series by Cora Media in collaboration with Val di Chiana Living. A human landscape, intimate and alive, shaped over centuries by the dialogue between people, farmers, but also artists and thinkers, and nature, especially water. Water has always been at the heart of this story, and always will be. The river that gave the valley its name, the Clanis, once sacred to the Etruscans and harnessed by the Romans, has guided the fortunes of this land for millennia. By the Middle Ages, it had begun to flow more slowly, spreading into marshes. Giovanni Boccaccio, the great writer of the Decameron, described its lazy, stagnant waters. Even Dante noticed it. In the Inferno of his Divina Commedia, he described the foul smell, a reminder that human life and nature are never separate, never simple. Nearby cities, Siena, Arezzo, Florence, Perugia, or Vieto, all struggled with flooding, disease, and instability. Even Leonardo da Vinci, the great Renaissance genius, tried to understand it. Leonardo believed that to understand the world, one must change their point of view, even by looking at it from above. And that's exactly what he did here. In the early 1500s, he drew a bird's eye view of the Val di Chiana, which we would now call an aerial view. The whole valley looked submerged. That drawing is still kept today in the Royal Library at Windsor Castle near London. The valley remained trapped in mud and stillness for almost 2 more centuries, until the great land reclamation works finally began, not before the 1700s. But life around it didn't stop at all. Life went on, and the land has been shaped by agriculture. Not just as an economy, but as a way of being human. While the Clanis drowned the lowlands, towns on higher ground, like Montepulciano, flourished. Montepulciano rose on a hill, healthy and vibrant, while across its marshes, rival powers stared each other down. 2 towers still stand as monuments to rivalry and humor. Beccati questo and beccati quello. Roughly, take that and take this. This is a perfect example of Tuscan humor, something like a medieval staring contest across the mud. At the same time, around the mid-15th century, in the heart of this agricultural, political human land, art appeared. While the soldiers were mocking each other, the artists were working. In the small and quiet town of Torrita di Siena, something remarkable was happening. Donatello, one of the fathers of the Renaissance, was working on a sculpture, a mysterious lunette, that remained hidden for centuries in a local church. But he was here, not in Florence, not in Rome, here in Torrita di Siena. His work shows Christ offering his blood, an image of sacrifice and redemption. But Donatello didn't make it gentle. In his hands, the spiritual becomes physical, visceral, dramatic, and modern. The angels are caught in clouds that feel as solid as rock, figures so real you can almost feel the wind ruffling their hair. Below Christ, two figures, perhaps the donors, watch the scene unfold as ordinary people of Donatello's own time. He places them inside the story. Donatello created something entirely new, reshaping sacred stories and the way they were told. It's not just art, it's storytelling in stone.
Donatello ci trascina nell'aldilà, nel sacro, in un'altra dimensione.
Donatello pulls us into the beyond, into the sacred, into another dimension, because he uses the language of art in a very powerful way. He speaks directly to our senses and to our imagination.
The voice you just heard belongs to Tommaso Montanari, an art historian, professor, and rector of the University for Foreigners of Siena. He is telling us how Donatello reshaped sacred stories, merging spirituality with tangible reality. Donatello doesn't ask you to admire from a distance, he pulls you in. He was showing the people of this valley that the sacred isn't far away. It's right here, in the stone, in the mud, in the work of their hands. This connection between the high art of the Renaissance and the hard work of the land is what defines the Val di Chiana Senese. It is a living land where every olive grove, every vineyard, every furrow in the field is a signature left by someone who lived here. Exactly like Donatello's lunette. This masterpiece was once rescued from near oblivion. At one point, it was even secretly replaced with a fake, while the original was sold to an art dealer who was trying to sell it to a private collection overseas. Today, it lives quietly in the church of Santa Croce in Torrita di Siena. This is a reminder of both fragility and resilience, art preserved by devotion of a community that never stopped watching. Because cultural heritage isn't protected by walls, it's protected by care, and this land is full of care. The valley keeps speaking through its art, and the story of preservation continues nearby. If in Sartiano, as we have seen in the first episode, you can find the dark, vivid paintings of the Tomba della Quadriga Infernale, in the same town, you can also find a masterpiece of a light and shadow, Domenico Beccafumi's Annunciation. It was the last public commission given to the artist, and it was completed in 1546. Beccafumi was one of the leading artists of the time around the area of Siena, alongside Giovanni Antonio Bazzi, better known as Il Sodoma. And one of Sodoma's most beautiful works is found in another small town of the Val di Chiana Senese, Trequanda. As you walk through the streets of the historic center, you will reach the main church. Don't hesitate. Step inside. You can admire Sodoma's Ascension. Those are places where you can see a painting from the 1500s and then look out the window and see the exact same view. This is not a museum valley. It's a living inventory. One of the people who understood this more deeply than anyone was Piero Calamandrei, a thinker, a writer, a jurist, one of the founding fathers of the Italian Constitution. He was a defender of culture, carrying these memories into the foundations of a nation. In the early 20th century, he spent his childhood summers in Montepulciano, and here, the memory of Piero Calamandrei lingers. He loved this land also during the rise of fascism, when he came back here not to escape the world, but to understand it. He walked the hills of the Val di Chiana Senese with friends, seeking freedom in the silence of ancient churches, in the Etruscan ruins and quiet towns. They weren't looking for postcards. They were looking for what they used to call the air of freedom. They were not tourists. They were explorers of memory, of ideas, of liberty. As they walked past Etruscan walls and Renaissance churches, they realized that the stones themselves were a form of resistance. This landscape was proof that Italy was older, deeper, and more beautiful than the temporary violence of the regime. And in these quiet moments, the lessons of the past, the foresight of ancestors, the care of those who came before were passed on, shaping the promise of the future. From those journeys came a simple, powerful idea. At the time, when fascist propaganda was spreading all over Italy, he understood that a nation isn't defined by blood or race, but by its bond with its land and its culture. The same idea lives in Article 9 of the Italian Constitution that Calamandrei helped write after the war. La Repubblica promuove lo sviluppo della cultura e la ricerca scientifica e tecnica, tutela il paesaggio e il patrimonio storico e artistico della nazione. The Republic promotes the development of culture and scientific research. It safeguards the landscape and the historical and artistic heritage of the nation. Think about that. For the first time in history, a state committed itself to protecting the landscape and the historical and artistic heritage. This important message was born right here in Montepulciano. Around the Piazza Grande, the square where Calamandrei played as a child. Across the hills where he collected wild plants. Within the land that offered him balance in dark times. These memories are not about nostalgia. They are about direction. We do not look back to linger in the past. We look back to know where we are going. Preservation is about listening, caring, and living with history as an active, guiding presence. And that is exactly what the Val di Chiana Senese still does. Art stays in its towns. History stays in its fields. Memory stays in its people. This is the inventory of the Val di Chiana Senese. Not a list of objects, but a living archive, a web of relationships and treasures. Think about Donatello's lunette. Professor Tommaso Montanari once said, "I like to think that Donatello is a citizen of this little town, Torrita. That's the magic of it. He lives here through his work." Montanari believes there are few places in the world so rich in variety within such a small area. Here, in this corner of Tuscany, we find not just diversity, but extraordinary quality. We are talking about a masterpiece that would feel perfectly at home in the greatest museums in the world. If this sculpture weren't here, where would it be? At the Met in New York? At the National Gallery in DC? Maybe in Berlin, if a great collector had gotten his hands on it back in the day. But it's not in any of those places. It's alive in Torrita di Siena. When we think about the agrarian side of Italy, far from the big cities of the peninsula, it's important to imagine it not as a retreat from reality. This is not a valley that escapes life. It's a valley that always teaches the same lesson, how to love it. And this is where Clanis brought us. From here, our journey continues. Clanis is a Cora Media podcast produced in partnership with Val di Chiana Living and the Val di Chiana Senese Tourism Board. Written and adapted by Anita Franzon and narrated by me, John Aquilecchia. The series editor is Graziano Nani. The sound designer is Aurora Ricci. The project manager is Marco Paltrinieri. The producer is Sabrina Patilli. The head of post-production is Matteo Scelsa. The studio engineer is Christian Galdini.